Sometimes dicks are delicious, Kevin.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I bet you were like, hey, you said it was going to be real quick. And then what had happened is that the laser beam that comes to the cell phone to make the internet happen from the robots didn't have the right alignment. So we are back, and we're going to have people from the audience come, and they're going to sit in this chair that is going to be there.
We knew it was going to be there, though.
And we're going to talk, and it's going to be a good time. So you'll get to see some of your fellow viewers and stuff. And hopefully, I think you can hear me from back here. It's a little, I'll turn up the gain. Yeah, that'll work. Anyone got an ETA? Hey, Phil Will, can you spam F5? Because that'd be dope. Yeah, you gotta spam F5 for everyone else. He's the only person in chat right now who knows that it's live again. This isn't awkward at all, chat. It's not uncomfortable or weird. I did an awful 15-minute stand-up set while we were waiting for that to happen. We talked about all sorts of uncomfortable things.
Like necromancy.
Like necromancy on computers, and we talked about Tesla. We talked about that. We talked about a bunch of stuff. We talked about stabbing Tim, but that's par for the course. Nah, it's okay. Tim's very stabbable, and he knows that. And that's just something he's lived with his whole life. And you know what? He's stronger for it. All right, so we're back. Thank you guys for hanging with while we got everything back up. So basically, we're just gonna do like a live episode of Ask Broman / Q&A / whatever. So just, I guess, do the hand if you have a question, and then you could come on down and win this wonderful smell from my armpit. You first, sir, since you're close. There's the live studio audience, chat the real. He's got a VIP shirt on, and he's got a hat. And there's not a lot of those hats around.
No.
And he wants me to make shoes.
Yes. And jackets.
And
you only have a hoodie.
I have a hoodie.
Like a jacket.
But like a jacket.
Like a jacket.
Like what kind? Like a
jacket.
Like a leather jacket?
Like my jacket.
Like your jacket. Okay.
A denim vest.
A denim vest?
Like a denim vest.
Okay. Awesome.
Like pants.
Like. Oh my gosh. All right. Sounds good. Well, what do you want to talk about?
So, I've been on Ask Broman. This is my third time now, actually, technically.
Oh, okay.
I'm GK Anubis.
Hi, buddy. All right. Nice to talk to you again. He's a vet.
I am, because we did the shoulder dance.
We did. We did.
But you told me that when it comes to people in chat, they come in and you're a new streamer, they're your best friends.
Yes.
What do you do when your best friends don't talk, and yet you are being talkative? You are trying to engage with them?
Yeah.
And because basically, give you a little bit of hint, yesterday I did a stream.
Sure.
And I had 50+ people come in, in spots, in little spots and videos. But I was talkative, I was trying to, get engaging, and
yeah, it's tough, man. One of the hardest things that you have to deal with as a broadcaster is driving your own show when no one's there. I feel like we talked about it on the podcast before, and you got to see a little bit of it live here.
That's great.
Yeah. When we had to stretch for time. But I think that one of the hardest things to do is you want energy out there, and then you want energy coming back to you. That's the whole purpose of doing a live show, right? Yeah. And when that energy is not there, it's hard. My standard advice for that is just ask those people a lot of questions, things like that. But especially if you have people in your chat that are regulars, they're there all the time that you know. One of the things I did when I started broadcasting more than anything else was I tried to get to know everything I could about everyone who was in my chat. So if so-and-so showed up, or if I saw their name in the viewer list or whatever, I'd be like, oh my gosh, Sean, what's up? How is that promotion going? And how's the baby doing? And whatever. So you can actually ask really pointed questions, right? Okay. That's kind of all that's there. Other than that, it's just sort of continuing to be as entertaining as you can be. But it's not easy. It's hard. It sucks dealing with a dead chat. or a dead room that doesn't laugh at your jokes. Okay.
You got thick clown.
This is the this is the first, the clowns always laugh. Smile, LOL.
Vomit.
Please clap, vomit. But yeah, I mean that's what. Please. Yeah, that's a really You know, the best part about being here is learning how every single one of you has a very similar sense of humor to me. So like everyone here thought that was hilarious inside. They're like, I'm gonna make this the worst clap I've ever. It's gonna be so funny when everyone does it together. They're like, ooh. Nice. Yeah, good team. Yeah. So you got any follow-ups to that?
Pretty much. I've just been literally listening to the podcast as much as I can. Since I am unemployed right now for hopefully a very small moment,
Sure.
I've been trying to be more consistent of streaming every single day, except for today, because well, technically,
Yeah, you're streaming right now.
so
Yeah. Good job. High five. You nailed it.
I'm still on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So let everybody know where they can find you.
You can find me. Actually, I was on Twitch. I still slightly am on Twitch at twitch.tv/GKAnubis. You can also find me at fb.gg/GKAnubis.
He's on it. Oh, there's some Facebook folks in the crowd. There's no clowns here. Well, that's awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming out and getting your beautiful face on the camera.
Thank you for coming to my hometown.
Yeah. Well, thank you to Micro Center because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. Like, yeah. Alex is handing out Micro Center high fives. Make sure to grab your high five on the way out. Thank you. We're gonna get someone else. Yes. Yeah. I saw the first three, and then there was another guy that was back there, and he was wearing a Destiny shirt, and he had his hand up, and I don't know where he went.
Hi.
But he's next. Hi, I'm Ben. Nice to meet you. Morgan, nice to meet you. What's your screen name for all these people?
It's Madam Weird, but it's weird with a Y.
Madam Weird with a Y.
W-Y-R-D.
I do recognize your name.
Oh my gosh, no.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. With a Y, chat.
With a Y.
Yeah.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, so my question for you is, I'm growing on Twitch, but I'm struggling to grow on like Twitter. So
Yeah.
do you have advice for like reaching more people on Twitter, like times I should post or anything?
So yeah, so like there are really good marketing practices for tweeting stuff, like, and that's something that's a really you can Google like best times to post on Twitter for engagement for whatever. So some stuff that's like not Googleable, be going into your own analytics and finding out what people who follow you are fans of.
Right.
There's actually really deep analytics on Twitter. My favorite thing about my feed and people who follow me is that as much as everyone there likes gaming, the other two big trending topics with them, and I don't know why this is exotic travel, which at first I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, it's like unique destinations, like traveling to like strange places, not exotic like that, chat. Yeah. Which I understand that you might think that because I'm from Florida and it's like the hometown, but no. So exotic travel, and then more, like something that makes more sense is food, right?
Right.
Like my wife's a great cook, I post a lot of food stuff.
Right.
But those two things tell me stuff about my audience and analytics. So if I'm trying to sort of grow into a space that doesn't, it isn't gaming, posting about when I travel or posting about food are two smart things for me to do based off those analytics. So there's those things, and then also being active. It's a lot like Twitch. Like I recommend talking in Twitch chat a lot if you're trying to grow as a broadcaster. It's the same thing on Twitter. So whatever you're passionate about, if anyone tweets about it, don't be shy to reply to it. And if like for me, I know that if I see somebody in my replies like every single time I tweet something, I will usually go check out their page. Check them out. I won't follow, but I'll start to pay attention to what that person has to say because because they reply so much, and often those are people who I'll quote tweet if they're replying to some thread that I have going on, things like that. So that's really important. I also, and I haven't asked them yet, but we'll see what happens. There are a few people I follow on Twitter that are very good at Twitter growth. Like they'll have tweets that go viral like once or twice a week. And I don't understand that, so I'm trying to get some of them on. Trying to get them on because like I'm good at Twitter because like I use it and I push people to that platform. But there are people who are native, like Twitter is their strongest platform, and they're the best at creating content there, and they're going viral once or twice a week with like 25,000 retweets and 50 plus thousand likes and all this other stuff because they make really good quality content that feeds into like the mechanisms of Twitter. So watch for that episode soon,
yes,
and that'll
absolutely.
be way better advice.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
yeah, let everyone. So do you stream or?
Yeah, I stream.
Yeah. Tell everybody where to find all your stuff.
Twitch.tv/MadamWeird, which someone spelled my name right earlier. Madam
Yeah,
Weird
link
with a
it,
Y.
chat.
It's Madam with an E, and then Madam Weird with a Y. I think I have a mod in our chat. One of my mods is in our chat.
Okay. Yeah.
So they can say who I am. So, okay. Bye.
Awesome. Bye-bye. Thank you. This is, for me, I love the support. I love that. Everyone's clapping for each other. One of the I totally lost my train of thought, so we're just going to get someone else. Yeah, you raised your hand like last. You're the second person I saw. You.
Come on down.
Hope you guys like. Look at that. That's my shirt. This is freaking awesome. Yeah, it's really exciting, man. I love that we've had the opportunity to do this.
I'm just gonna do this.
Okay.
How's it going, dude?
It's going good.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Ben.
No way.
You got to
I'm
scoot
Brian.
in. Brian, nice to meet you. Come in the camera.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Okay. So, question.
I like your piece.
Thank you very much. It took some time.
It looks
Much
it
like
did.
the shirt, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. So I see that you're not streaming Anthem right now. Is it dead? Is Anthem dead?
No, it's not.
Anthem's fun, guys. It's a good time. It hurts you. It kicks you as much as you want to put the love into it, man. I love it, but it hurts me every day.
It hurts,
It hurts me
that's,
every
and
day.
some people are really into that, and we don't kink shame here.
Yeah, you know.
So,
I guess I'm one of those people, apparently.
was that your question legit?
okay.
Or no, he was just memeing. This is awesome. Everyone here loves to meme.
How much pain can you take before a game just pushes you away?
Like,
Because Anthem, I mean, for as much fun as it is,
Sure.
it just constantly just kicks back. It just feels like it just...
it's no. So there are games that like to legitimately answer your question.
Yeah.
There are games that, and I think Anthem's a good example of this, where it's at right now,
Mm-hmm.
where it's hard to put your finger on like one thing.
Yeah.
That and you're like, this is the thing that I can't stand.
Yeah.
You know, for some games it's really obvious. Like, I hate the gameplay flow. And
Yeah,
everyone's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yep, totally.
Yeah,
That sucks. But with Anthem, the issue feels like it's like death by 1,000 needles, right?
Yeah.
Like, you'll get into the gameplay and then there's like a loading screen. And you're like, well, fuck. So there's just, it's like it constantly breaks up your flow.
Yeah.
And then there's like the reward issues in the game, whether or not you find it to be rewarding. It's got like everything is so broken up in Anthem that it feels like it's hard for it to build momentum. So for me, once I sort of tired of the moment-to-moment gameplay, which took me about 100 hours before I stopped.
That's no small...
Yeah, I mean, 100 hours is a lot of time.
A lot of time.
But when you're looking at something that a lot of people were hoping was going to be like a Diablo-style investment game, where like I'm going to play Anthem in seasons, and it's going to be awesome, and I'm going to build perfect sets, and to only get 100 hours out of an experience you were looking to be, 3,000 to 5,000 hours is a disappointment. So I definitely understand that. So for me, like the big thing with Anthem is that it's just there's so many tiny things, whether it's like load screens or it's gameplay rewards or it's like a lack of story or a lack of customization or or you got too much loot or you didn't have enough loot or whatever. I feel like Anthem is pretty far away from where it needs to be right now. Or
It could get there, though.
Yeah, it could get there. It's like I said, it's a great game. When I did my review, it's a great game and I love it, but it breaks my heart because it's fallen so far short of whatever. And it took me a long time to sort of get to the edge because I don't really like to tell everybody when I'm reviewing a game, I don't like to say this thing sucks until I get to the point where I can't play it anymore. And then I like to break down why can't I play this? Like what has separated me from enjoying this game the way I was 10 hours in or 20 hours in or however far I know.
Yeah.
So Anthem feels like if you're someone who loved it and now you don't, it sort of feels like death by 1,000 tiny cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like as I was playing it, it just kept kept breaking me down like every time I would step in there. Like,
Yeah.
I would just you get in the middle of a fight and then it starts picking up and then it's over. And I'm like, man.
And then you have to fly somewhere else.
Just give me a shit ton of mobs to just explode and
Yeah. And I know they have like the Cataclysm event and all this other stuff that's coming out, but I think yes,
It's
that's
so
the
far
issue.
away.
When you have pinnacle activities that you're pitching everyone and you're saying you're really gonna like this,
Yeah.
but it's 2 months out,
Yeah.
and you don't have enough content to get people there, you're really sort of setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's how Anthem feels to me right now.
Yeah.
And my opinion is one person's opinion.
Yeah,
And if
exactly.
you love the game, like just like the chat rules says, like we don't shit on stuff that other people like. So if you love the game, that's awesome, and you get into it and have a blast. But I personally hope that it improves.
It will.
It
have a
will.
feeling it will.
The general consensus around like content creators that I've talked to is the game needed a year more of development. So once it gets a year out from when it launched, it'll probably be awesome.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate because it had these missteps right in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know?
Thing is, as many problems I've got with it, I'm gonna go home and play it tonight. I'm just gonna keep playing. Yeah.
I love it, man.
Well, dude,
Thank
nice
you so
meeting
much.
Where's the blue balls at?
The
Where are your blue balls?
Where are my blue balls
Where are
at?
your blue balls?
My blue balls aren't here, chat. They're still in my house.
Told you to ask about it. Well, it's nice meeting you, man.
Thank you so much.
you.
It's nice to meet you too. Yeah. So if you don't know what the hell that was about, I have 2 Hue lamps that I have linked into my stream for alerts, and when people sub, they turn blue, and they're inside of gigantic Chinese lanterns right now, like the Chinese paper lanterns, and so now everyone asks. You get the joke. Audrey says that you all are very funny. That's the boss.
Audrey.
Yeah, Audrey is the boss, chat, and she says you're all fun. I called you chat in real life, and I promised myself I wasn't going to do that. But I did. All right. Who's next? You, right here. You're right here. You're close. Come around. Yeah. Yeah, clap!
Hi.
Hi, how you doing? I'm Ben.
Nice to meet you, Ben. I'm Marco.
Nice to
Or
meet you, Marco.
Poloniumized.
Poloniumized. What's up, man?
Not much. I got really excited finding out 4 days ago that you're coming to Columbus. So.
Yes. Yeah. Next time we need more lead-up time. It'd be great. So that way there's not people who are in stream today. Wait, you're here? You're in my town? Like,
I was gonna be one of those people.
Yeah, you would have, but you're here. What can I do for you, man?
So I recently, over the past couple of weeks, have been in this kind of funk. The best way I could describe it.
Funk? Okay.
And so I reached out to people in my community, and between work and streaming, as
Funk
much
like
as,
in life or funk like in
just
streaming?
mentally, just
sure,
kind of,
okay.
just kind of cloudy.
Gotcha.
Not like a depressive state.
No,
but
yeah,
just I couldn't.
you feel cloudy. I get it.
I couldn't put 2 and 2 together,
Yeah.
and then I realized streaming as much as I could with what little free time I had between jobs, I was burning out. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And I hadn't felt like that before because I always push myself hard.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
finally hit that wall. When did you realize you first had that kind of wall, and like what did you do about it?
Like when was the first time I burned out?
Yeah.
So I've gone through a few periods in my streaming career where I was definitely like burned out or on the brink of burning out, and then I would take a couple days off and I was fine. For me, it's usually about like reorienting my mindset. Like I'll get a little too driven down into one particular problem, and that's like, you know, I have ADHD, and like one of the things that you struggle with that is like hyper focus sometimes, which is the opposite of having problems with attention. But you'll get so far into a problem you can't get out. But the first time I really super burned out, and like a little break didn't fix it, was last year at GuardianCon. So like I did everything I could to like be as present as I could be at the event, but I felt exactly like what you were talking about. And then when I got done, I'm usually like the day it's done, it's like this big release. And you're like, oh, it's finished, like all this hard work, it paid off, blah, blah, blah. But I felt nothing. And that's when I knew I had a problem, right? Because I should have been happy. I should have been like, oh, wow, what a great event. We killed it. We raised tons of money for kids, all this other stuff. But I was so internally exhausted that it was like I couldn't feel anything, right? So that's a little bit further than the cloudiness.
Yeah.
But that's where burnout gets you, is you get to the point where it's like there's this thing and you're so passionate about it and it's what you love, but you just physically can't care anymore. So my advice to anybody when they're starting to get where you're at is take a break. Take a break and like a full break. Don't take a break and try and figure it the fuck out, because that's going to make it worse. And that was what I did when I was at that point, and it took me like a month to turn things around. So take a break and do something else. Like binge watch some Netflix, go take a vacation, whatever. And it's really hard advice to take, because when you're a driven person, your goal is to solve problems. And like that's why and I'm sure everyone here knows that there's something you're passionate about and you work on it, and you would work yourself to death on that thing. And if you haven't found that, you will eventually. You'll find the thing you're so passionate about. But you have to take a complete step back away from this thing that you love in order to get reoriented. And that is the hardest fucking thing to do. But it's, if you do it when you start to get cloudy and you feel like you can't think, it's like writer's block. It's like a creative's writer's block. You have to take a step back, because if you don't, it'll just get worse and worse and worse. And then eventually you won't feel anything. And then you'll be like, wow, I'm super fucked. This is weird. I've never felt like this before. And you'll end up having to take, even more time off, or you'll have with streaming, you can't take time off. So like after I went to Disney, after GuardianCon, I got back and started streaming, and I was still burning myself out. And it wasn't until I was like, you know what, I'm gonna cap my time at like 6 hours a day for like a week and a half, that I really started to get my perspective back. So yeah, I mean, it is take a break, which is what everyone says, but it's take a complete break. Don't do any of the thing. Like, don't try and fix it. Don't take a day off. This is what everyone does. They'll take a day off and they'll sit there and they'll take out a notebook and they'll be like, here's what's wrong with my dumbass. And you'll just pick yourself apart. That's what I do. You have to take like a full break. Don't try and problem solve. Just be present and enjoy. Go be a butterfly and fly around and do butterfly stuff. Whatever it is whatever metaphor that I have to use. I know I keep running in circles on this, but it's so important. And I want everyone who's here and who's watching and who's going to listen to this later to understand that you know what it means to turn off the part of you that's driving everything, and you physically have to go over and turn that switch off, and that's terrifying, because you're like, what if it never comes back on? But the thing is, this is what you're passionate about, so it's going to be like a circuit breaker. It's going to want to turn back on. That's not how circuit breakers work. Shut up. There's always going to be energy behind it, and so maybe the first time you found out that it was what you're passionate about, that movement was hard. But you're kind of come back to it, and you're gonna flip it on, and you're like, oh wow, I have more energy, blah blah blah. All the things that people say after they take a break, and you're like, that guy's full of shit, and you don't want to believe them right now. But then you're gonna come back and be like, guys, I'm sorry, because I've done that so many times too. So yeah, that's my advice for that. So are you streaming on Facebook? Because I saw a lot of Facebook people woo.
Yeah, because of you, actually, because of you, Tim. And
how's it going?
It was one of the most terrifying and best decisions I've ever made.
Yeah?
Because I have a very limited schedule with my free time. Like you said, if you are an intermittent streamer, Facebook's the place to be.
Yeah.
And the community there has been great. Tim in Bullshark and a lot of people that came from Twitch and other platforms have been spearheading, just making sure everybody has felt welcome there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you for that. I had to listen to you say it at least a dozen times, and I was like, maybe he knows what he's talking about.
You have to hear it. Well, you have to hear it at the right time, right? There's good advice, and then it's I run into this with my wife all the time. She'll tell me something, and it's great advice, and I'll hear it 100 times, and then, unfortunately, the 101st time I say it, someone else will say something to me that Amy said, and I'm like, oh my god, you won't believe what so-and-so said. She's like I said 100 times? But it's it's in context, and I need to do a better job listening to her, which is why I said that, if you're watching, Amy. But yeah, hearing it in context matters. I have a question for you, actually, because I've been getting some feedback from people who stream on Facebook, especially since the I forget what it is, American Association Against Bullying, or there's a big online data gathering group, and they were picking out the worst places for toxicity online. Facebook was lower ranking than people would expect, and then we had a discussion on stream, and folks when I go to Facebook streams, I feel like people are nicer because when they type in chat, it's their name, their face, and you can click on you can literally, if someone's like, kill yourself, you can click on their name, and you can, that 13-year-old's name, and you can be like, all right, and you can find his parents, and then you can send his parents a letter with a screenshot that's, dear Mr. and Mrs.
I've seen
Simmons.
Chicks do that. I've seen a bunch of other streamers do that.
So do you feel like that actually stems negativity? Like, is that a fake concept, or does that feel very real there for you?
So
based on your experience,
being on the internet, I've experienced that everywhere. Like you will encounter it regardless.
There's no way to avoid it.
Yeah, and thankfully I've been blessed with a very kind and supportive community across the board. And as soon as someone has come in, even saying like, "Oh, you're trash at this game," like that, I don't really consider that as hostile or a banning offense. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not great at this game. Thank you for stopping by regardless. But as soon as someone has said, like, your community's a bunch of bitches, I actually had someone say that. Donate money. What a
weird comment. Here's some stars.
I'm like, okay, all right, thank you for your $5. Please move on.
Yeah, please leave.
And everybody else is just like, okay, that's interesting. It's never gone to an extreme. However, I have heard other cases where a friend of mine had her stream shared just the other day, like yesterday or the day before. Shared 75 times to different pages, and then continued to sexually harass her the entire night.
Oh, so they'll send it to communities that harass people. Yeah. So there's definitely a propensity for that, and that's somewhere that
it definitely still
Facebook needs to do better on that.
Actually, Snooty Wizard, Eddie Dre, and Tim's mod.
Yeah.
And that struck a nerve with me. I felt terrible that I wasn't aware of it at the time, that I couldn't do something about it.
But it's like, that's really interesting. So that's something, Facebook obviously has a lot of things they can do better. Yeah. I don't think anyone here disagrees with that.
Absolutely.
But, right? Facebook. Yeah. The old Facebook. Yeah, anyway. See how that joke didn't land, and you just got to keep going? No. That's what you got to do.
Yep.
You just got to slow clap. Good job. Good joke. Good joke. The shame feels so much more real in person. Yeah. But that's good to know. So I appreciate that insight. It helps me give better people advice. So thank you,
sir. Thank you so much.
And tell everyone where they can find you, and we'll grab someone else.
So I stream on Facebook, fb.gg/poloniumized. Enjoy spelling that. It's POLONIUMIZED.
Yeah.
I need that in writing.
Like polonium and then eyes. Yeah. I used to call them polo miney eyes or something for like years. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Yes. Yeah. You've had your hand up like every time. Oh. Okay. We'll do again. Okay. Hi.
Hello.
And you are this time on stream?
Yes. my name is Travis Schrader, also known as Travis SCH on the internet.
Nice to meet you, Travis.
Yes.
From the internet and stuff.
From the internet.
Travis was like one of the first people here. It was great.
Oh yes, definitely. I don't know if you know this, but there's some kind of update coming on Tuesday to Destiny.
Yeah, there's a Destiny update on Tuesday.
Yeah, so
who's excited about that?
Yes.
Very good.
But yes, definitely. Anyway, I was gonna ask, what are you looking forward to in Season of the Drifter coming up here that you can talk about? I know you gotta say it early.
No. Yeah. So I actually, I got to go out to Bungie and I got to learn a little bit about Season of the Drifter, and they showed us some stuff that was in their deck, like things they were planning to create, right? So obviously we got to play Black Armory, and then they told us a little bit about like this is kind of what we're thinking for Season of the Drifter.
Definitely.
So I've known about some stuff that they've announced, like the 4 armor sets. I've known about that for months.
Yeah, I saw your reaction.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, they finally said it, so I can say it. But I'm really excited. I was very hesitant about everything that was going on. I was worried that how are they going to change Gambit? How are they going to improve it? How is it going to be a really interesting activity? Even knowing what I knew, but the fact that they're like, well, there's this Gambit Prime, and then they showed the Reckoning activity that's going to be like this timed horde mode. It seems like they have a very well curated gameplay loop. And when Destiny has a good gameplay loop that's driving you to different activities, it's a fantastic game. That's what got everybody really addicted in Destiny 1. You had the gameplay loop of like, okay, I'm going to go get this gear. Oh, it's an exotic. That means I have to level it up. And then you're going to take it into Crucible, and you're going to do daily bounties, and you're going to level it up. And then once it's all leveled up and it's got the experience in there, okay, now I have to go on patrol, and I have to get all this goddamn spin metal. And then you get all the goddamn spin metal, and you put the spin metal in there, and you level that up. And then you're like, okay, well, that was cool, and now it's mastered, and I'm going to go use it to acquire other weapons. So when Destiny has a really tight-driven gameplay loop, it's a very engaging experience. So I'm really excited because when I look at what has been said about Season of the Drifter, I see you're going to go into Gambit Prime and you're going to get whatever it is from that, and you're going to get that gear and you're going to go into Reckoning and you're going to play that. And if Reckoning's punishing, it might take you a few times to get through it to get whatever you're supposed to get out of it, and then you're going to take your gear back into Gambit. You know, the only, and this was brought up, and I don't know if it's been addressed anywhere, because I was talking about it earlier, and some people were like, listen to this podcast, because I have time. But they said that, you know, I think that people are worried that the gear, like the Invader gear or the Sentinel gear or whatever, is going to be random drops. My hope is that you'll be able to, like, choose a direction for your character. Because if people have teams and they want to build a team, it would be helpful to say, like, all right, this is me and my 4 buds, and we all have a class we want to play as, so we're going to pick this gear specifically to play as. So I don't know if that's been, like, debunked or if that's a hope or a reality, but if that is the way that this is going to play, I think it's going to be a really solid update, because everyone's going to get to go with their first choice. And then once that's all maxed out or whatever, they're going to see how their friends play, and they're going to go, oh, I want to try Invader next, or I want to try Collector next. And it should be a really solid season of content. And then the fact that they have Gambit Prime now, which is supposed to be, which is a dramatic change, right? It's 1 round, and it's supposed to be super hard, and it's supposed to have raid-like mechanics for bosses.
Like a DPS boss.
Yeah, like DPS phase and like mechanics and all that stuff. That's really exciting, because that takes Gambit to the level of a pinnacle PvE activity, kind of like a raid, only instead of have to have a team, you can matchmake into it, which has been one of the community's biggest complaints about everything, and it's so valid. So having a match-made pinnacle PvE activity is huge, and I think if Gambit Prime really lands where they want it to, it'll be very invigorating for like the whole player base, and it'll give everyone a place to come try their gear out again. Because you need that once you have everything you want to keep using it. There has to be a good place for that. In Destiny 1, it was the raids, and it was Trials of Osiris. And in Destiny 2, there isn't really a strong place for that yet. So my hope is that Gambit Prime will become that place, and then everyone's happy.
Yep.
So those are my thoughts.
Very nice. Yep, that's pretty much all I had.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming to Columbus. I'm excited.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
Thank you to Micro Center for bringing me here when there's all this snow. I'm gonna keep saying that. Yeah, like, way to go, Micro Center. No, like they were kind enough to bring me out here and let me stream from their store and take a huge risk on this crazy streaming thing, and I'm incredibly grateful, because we wouldn't be having these great moments without them. So yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't see your first tweet about it. I just saw it yesterday that you were gonna come in here, and I'm like, oh shit! 2 hour drive today.
2 hours?
Yes.
Jeez. That is. There's some people who have taken some drives to come out here, and
Yes.
I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much, man.
Can I promote myself?
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask if you stream. I was getting there, 100%. Nah, this guy knows what's up.
Yes.
Go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you on the internet.
So I don't stream, but I'm Travis SCH on like Twitter and stuff. Travis SCH Gaming on Twitter, and I'm one of the forum mentors on Bungie.net. So I'm kind of like one of the moderators who.
He's a forum moderator on Bungie.
Somewhat, yeah.
So
I help the people on the help forums there.
If you're ever a jerk,
yeah, I will forward it to the.
This is the face. This is the face of the person who you're hurting when you're a jerk. So stop it. Thank you so much, Travis. I appreciate you. What?
Since you brought up Gambit in this Gambit private matches, you allowed to talk about Gambit League?
Gambit League? Gambit League is not my project. Gambit League is Goth's project. So all questions will be directed to him.
When is he coming to Columbus?
When is he coming to Columbus? Oh man. Yeah. And then you. And then you. And then we're gonna get on the backpack. Can I do 3 people and then we get on the backpack? Is that cool? Or should we do the yeah? Good? All right, yeah. We'll do these 3 people and then we'll get on the backpack. And then don't worry, I'm gonna be here and I promise I'll talk to everybody. Okay.
Okay.
I promise.
Here. Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
It's a bit of a snug frame.
It is. First things first. Left elbow.
Left.
There
you go.
Okay.
All right.
We're good. So I don't consider myself a big gamer.
Okay.
I've only really been playing video games for probably about the past year.
All right.
So I tried to get. I know.
That's fine.
And so for me, one of the first games I played was. And then it was.
Don't need to be embarrassed.
And then I got Destiny, but I feel like I'm too late in the game.
Sure.
And it's very overwhelming to try and learn all the lore and everything that goes into it. So I usually just get on and do a few things and do some Gabbit and hop off.
Yeah.
So do you have any recommendation of how to get into something? Right now I'm just playing Apex.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't have to have I don't know.
No, I understand what you're saying. So for a lot of people who are new to gaming, the idea of becoming part of a new community is really daunting. And you kind of don't know where to start. You mentioned Destiny, and so Destiny has all this lore, and there's all these people, and there's all these builds, and they already know, and there's all these memes, and you're like, where is this coming from? I don't understand why this gun's a joke.
Yeah.
And I get that. So I think that, as someone who is bad at video games and is often new at things that I try, I really like to lean on the people around me that I play with to sort of educate me. So, and I try to make sure I don't pressure myself to feel like I have to be, in it, if I just showed up, I don't need to act like I'm an old boy and I've been there for a long time and yeah, I know, I remember this when it happened, when I never played, that's, but I feel like people feel that pressure. So I would say, when you're new to a game or a community, find some people you play with frequently, or if you play by yourself, just explore that universe, the universe outside the game, the community, at whatever pace is comfortable.
Because I try and I'm okay, so I've been playing Destiny for a little while and I'm starting to learn a few things, and they're oh, well, yeah, we'll masterwork this, and I'm what?
Oh yeah. So the other part of that is you have to find someone who's actually a good teacher, and usually there's a content creator for that. Bife's good at lore, and Dado does timetables, timetables, and stats and stuff. No, but you finding someone who's actually going to teach you and not just tell you what to do, because I think that's what unfortunately a lot of gamers are just you just do this. Well, why? You might be someone who likes to ask why. I'm someone who likes to ask why.
Right.
And if you ask why, they're I don't know, it's just what you're supposed to do. I saw it and you just did it. It's what you do. But for me, it's about finding mentors or finding people in the community that are going to teach. So yeah, and don't be afraid to ask for help. And if someone gives you a shit answer, fuck them. Go find someone else that's better than them and wants to actually help you.
I just feel like I don't want to be a burden. So because
true fans,
I get one question answered, and then it's okay, now I got 20 more questions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think real fans of any game or genre, and this extends to all media, real fans aren't going to try and gatekeep you out of the experience, right? They're going to welcome you in. And they're gonna know the journey that's there, going from being brand new to oh, masterwork this. Why? Well, and then it's these, the 20 questions that you said, and there are people who legitimately love sharing that experience with you. And so I think if you're new, it's about finding. He's over here yes.
I used to do a rating 101.
Yeah.
And I haven't done it in Destiny 2.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're always going to have people in communities that love to teach, and I think it's about finding those people and then sticking with them, and kind of making sure you stay away from as many assholes as you can.
Yeah.
You better have a Yaller horn, and you gotta
next level.
Only 100. You gotta have 100+ wins. Otherwise, you can't get on my raid team. You need to have the Luna's Howl if you want to raid with me.
Must be a hunter, not a
Yeah,
sword.
all this stupid stuff. Yeah, fuck those people.
I'm like, 'cause I've never even rated or anything.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, it's
Yeah, I mean, I think it's finding the people around you that, or surrounding yourself with people from the community that want to embrace newness, new people, and that's really it. And trust me, you're not a burden. You're not like a pain in the ass. If somebody is there and they're
unless it's to Tim, then I am.
unless you're, yeah, I mean, like, well, we all, fuck Tim.
His words, not mine.
Sorry, Tim. Your mod made me say that. She did not make me say that. No, she did not make me say that. No, but yeah, it's about finding people that aren't going to troll you and who want to embrace you and teach you about the game. And if you're there and they're answering questions, they want to be there too. Problem. All right. We'll talk to that. We'll talk about what we want to do to Tim later.
Those
Yeah.
things later. Okay.
Yeah. Is there anywhere on the internet that you want these people to follow you?
I'm actually on Facebook Gaming. I'm at fb.gg/LynnBaby. LYNNEBAYB. Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. And then you. Hi. I'm Ben. Nice to meet you.
I know. I watch you on the internet. My name is DJ.
DJ, nice to meet you.
I've got like 2 questions if they're like really short. Is that okay? Or
That's
one
fine.
and
No,
done?
I'm not. It's all good.
I didn't know if time and everything was here.
Nah, man. I'm gonna run around the house with the backpack camera, and it's gonna be great.
So my first question is, I've been streaming for a decent amount of time.
There you go.
I've been streaming for a decent amount of time, and I'm kind of experiencing my first lull.
Sure.
Where it's weird because everything else is growing, like socials and all other channels, but my Twitch is dipping.
Sure.
So what should be the first thing that I should look? What I need to, or what could be the calls?
So I would say like there's best practices that you can engage in, but it's like hacking growth on Twitch and like figuring out how that functions is something that like if I had the answer to that, like
2 million.
Like yeah, if I had the answer to that, everyone would be like, who's Ninja? Like like the person that legitimately finds the answer to exactly what you have to do on Twitch to grow is going to be the biggest superstar on Twitch ever. So that's why what we have to do as broadcasters is sort of learn what does and doesn't work for us, and then also learn what does and doesn't work against the trend, right? Okay. So I don't enjoy battle royale games. I like playing them, but it's not something I can play all the time. Like I want to play it with some friends and laugh and then die a lot, and then I want to go play something else. But the trend on Twitch over the past, year and a half or 2 years has been battle royales are sort of up front. Right. Now, that's like, and this is when it's really hard to not get emotional, right? And I think this is the problem that people have, is you're like, fuck battle royales, I hate that shit, it's consuming Twitch, whatever. But the reality is it like, I like to look at things like, if you look at it like an economic trend, there's definitely going to be things that are going to accelerate over certain periods of time, and that's just the way it is. And if you're not on that wave, because there's a couple of things you have to do to be successful at BRs and be successful on Twitch. One, you have to be good.
Right.
And that is fundamentally different than the Twitch that I started streaming on. Right. You could be successful on Twitch if you were good, but also, variety entertainers or people who are really funny. And like, yes, those people still grow on Twitch, but it's different now. Right. If you could literally show up, dominate at a BR tournament, and then next week you're partnered and you're getting 1,000-2,000 subs on your channel and you're getting 3,000 to 4,000 concurrent viewers because you beat ass in that video game, and everyone wants to come see you do that. So that is a fundamental change on Twitch. So I said all that to say this: I knew that when I saw that starting to happen on Twitch, that for me, I'm not going to see as much growth during this period of time because I am not great at video games. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody who's here. I have moments of brilliance, but most of you are here because you think that I'm funny, or you like it when my wife scares me when I play a scary game, or whatever. Yeah, everybody's like, yeah! You know, so... Yeah, claps for Amy, claps for Amy. So I recognized that growth was going to be slower for me, and I accepted that. And by doing that, it sort of freed me up, and I realized, okay, well, if this is going to be slower growth period for me, then I'm going to take time to experiment. And I'm just sort of walking you through my process because that's the best thing that I can do. So I said, okay, I'm going to try different stuff. I'm going to play more variety, which is, you know, why you guys got like a Resident Evil 2 playthrough, and you know, we played through Earthbound. We played through some of my favorite games, and I started doing different stuff on stream because I knew that it was not as vital for me to be online playing whatever a high growth game for me was, and burning myself out, when in my mind I could go experiment, and maybe because it's the right time to, maybe I find another gem of content or a content style that I wouldn't have been able to try otherwise, and I can implement that. You know, and so now for me, you know, Tetris 99 is something I would not have tried, and everyone's laughing because we're about to get that Tetris. And I'm horrible at Tetris 99. I've played like 20 hours of it now, and it's fun on stream because I get to have an emotional breakdown every 5 minutes. And I got second place yesterday, and it was, yeah! We're number 2! So what I learned from that experience is like, okay, Tetris did really well on my channel, right? So if there's other really intense puzzle games that come out, like maybe that's worth giving a shot. You know, like maybe if they bring Tetris Attack back, or they do like, you know, Dr. Mario or something else, like that's something I should try because people genuinely enjoyed that. But, you know, if that was 3 years ago, I would have been like, Tetris 99, lol, like, fuck that shit. Because it wouldn't have made sense in my content structure. So those are that's sort of like my cobbled together knowledge about how trends work. For you in particular, like you said, that everything else that you have is still growing. So like your other socials are growing, which means you're making good content in those places. So that's awesome. But Twitch is incredibly volatile. Right. So I don't know what do you stream primarily?
So I'm not a primary streamer. I do variety streaming.
You variety streaming, okay.
With
so it's already a tough road.
Right, which I knew coming into it. I've been streaming, I started in January of last year.
Okay.
And then had like an 8-month break when we had our first, and then now I'm back to it pretty full time.
Okay.
But I primarily focus on new releases and franchise play.
Gotcha.
Like that's what I love to do.
That's awesome.
But right now there's nothing really
out.
There's nothing really happening, and so like I moved over to like we've been streaming the Div 2.
Sure.
Right? Super fun. Like just tanked from like 35, 40 to like 15.
That's a good sign
17.
though. Like if you're usually doing new game playthroughs and franchise playthroughs, and people are tuning into that, and then you try and play something that's like super hot or like a little bit out of your wheelhouse, that means that like in my mind your goal as a variety streamer is to be able to play what you want and play new games when they come out and shit like that.
Right.
And that means that part of your wheelhouse is really strong. So like there's definitely a positive there. So what you need to do right now is you need to figure out what to do during lulls. And so you tried Division 2 beta, and like maybe it did connect. I would definitely pay really close attention to the people who are there and how much they enjoy it, because part of growth is going and trying new things and finding different ways to connect, right?
Right.
So definitely just have to keep experimenting and finding stuff. Co-Carnage is a monolith of an example on how to handle variety stream. And you know, I would definitely pay really close attention to how he runs his stream and how he builds his schedule.
Right.
I think everybody sort of knows part of his secret sauce right now is like, oh, a big game's coming out, franchise playthrough before the game.
Which is what the same thing, you know, I follow a lot of that.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's good structure, but there's, you know, there are so many fucking games that exist, right? So it's like finding ways to like maybe include retro games. I find that for variety channels, retro games do really, really well. Like because everyone wants to re-experience
that nostalgia,
that whatever that game was. Like when I decided I was gonna bite the bullet and play through, bite the bullet air quotes, and play through Earthbound on stream, I was expecting like And like I average around 1,000 viewers a stream right now. I was expecting like maybe 50 people to show up. So the fact that 500 people were there every day for Earthbound was a huge one because I was expecting so much less. And I'm like, oh shit, if I can play Earthbound and have half my average concurrent viewers, I'm doing something right. So I think thinking about it in terms of percentages, setting expectations and stuff to sort of take the emotion out of it while you're engaging in this experiment to try and figure out what works for your channel, it's going to be the number one, like it's the best strategy that you have. Because once people start getting emotional, they start screaming at developers and blaming developers, and they start streaming at other broadcasters and blaming broadcasters, and there's all this infighting and this negative energy that goes out from you. You don't want that. All you need to do is look at whatever you're doing as an experiment and say it's okay if it fails.
I think, and that's a lot of what I felt like most of my. I know that the reason I have the community I have is because of me and not what I played. I mean, if we've grown in certain games and stuff, but like it's that people come, they're watching when because I don't have a main. But the biggest thing is I just don't know where to look. Because a lot of it's just been uphill, right? Yeah. Which is horrible because I didn't go through some of the kinks that I should have learned and get a little bit higher. So yeah. So I'm just kind of figuring out like what and when to evaluate and if it's okay to experiment and what to do during the experiment.
Yeah, I give you and everyone else who's a variety broadcaster the fullest permission to try and figure out what the fuck you're doing because it's hard.
It is.
And like bravo to you and anyone else who's getting into Twitch now and saying I'm going to do variety because it is a tough road, but it's very valuable. A lot of the iconic people on Twitch and the people who have the Twitch job that everyone wants, which is play whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want, for as long as I want. There's a very few select people on Twitch that actually can do that. And power to you for trying and understand it's going to be a long road, but experimentation is how you're going to get to that. You're going to find your secret sauce while you're out there trying new stuff.
Right. Awesome. I know I've taken up a lot of time. Do I have
one more. That's fine.
Okay.
We got you and then we got another guy.
Okay. So when it comes to social media, though, I've been kind of just freely responding to anything that I see from bigger and smaller broadcasters. But then, like, just someone mentioned, like, is it ever like annoying when someone my size answers like every tweet out? Like not in a clout chasing kind of way, but like just something like responsive.
If you're engaging with anyone of note, right? So I'm assuming you're talking about like higher up on the pecking order of the status of Twitter or whatever.
Well, I mean, like I said, like I respond to like some of your stuff and like just streamers that I watch, I respond to what they post.
Yeah, I think that as long as, and this goes for any social media platform, as long as your engagement with somebody is genuine, like you actually read it, and you have something you want to say or an idea you want to get out there, even if it's like, hey, thanks, I like this. That is never looked down upon. Okay. The only people who really piss me off in replies, and they usually get muted. So, haha, if you think you're still trolling me, is people who constantly try and make fucking shit jokes about stuff. Like every time I tweet, they're like, "Yeah, but what about this?" I'm like, "Fucking, we get it, dude. Like, we get
the joke died. Let it go.
The joke's dead." So I'll usually block people like that. But if you're being positive in anyone's comments, you're like I said earlier, you're going to be getting noticed, and you're actually going to be gathering engagement off that platform. Don't be afraid if you have something to share or that isn't negative. Don't be afraid to share it with whomever you're thinking it, whoever brought the idea out.
That's me.
Awesome. Tell everyone where they can find you. Then we got one more.
So you can find me everywhere at the Curly Crew, but the C's are K's. So the KURLY KREW, and I go by Curls because it was me and my wife's stream, so that's why we named it that way. Now it's just
that's awesome. All right, the Curly Crew, everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right.
How are you?
Hello. Play one more time. Hi.
Pleasure, man. Nice to meet you. Absolutely.
Nice hoodie.
Thank you.
Yeah, was this local
place about 10 minutes away from here?
Awesome. Yeah. This way a little bit.
All right.
Just a little bit. All right, so just before we go any further, because I know some people in chat are asking about why this isn't widescreen, the answer is technology's fun.
The answer is easy.
Ice cream machine broke.
The audio is cutting out from time to time and not picking up your voices. I will turn up the gain as far as I can. All right.
I'll do the best I can.
Yeah. All right. So now the gain is turned all the way up. I can see us in the yellow over there, and if it's rip eardrums, I'm sorry. I guess turn down the stream. We're doing the best we can. And I have a compressor on this, so that's what I got.
It's the fun of doing everything live.
Yeah.
I feel you. Also, having watched the jam today, congratulations on avoiding Kevin and Gott's fate of getting punched all the time by their wives.
Wait.
Or listening to the
listen to the jam. I was like, they did the jam without me on a Sunday.
It was great. You missed the whole thing.
Oh man. Yeah. No. Thank you. I like being nice. Remember, chat and people here, if your significant other has a dream and you're a jerk, just say, I'm sorry for what dream me did, and then you can move on.
And then you won't get punched in the ribs like Kevin.
You won't get punched in the ribs. Yeah, anyway.
So I stream a lot of pinball. So something that's very, very niche, not something that I know is going to get a ton of viewers.
What's your Twitch name?
Sav2880.
Okay.
SAV.
Gotcha.
And I stream here, on Monday nights as well, which is a lot of fun. Love doing it. But and Curl's actually kind of asked one question that I was going to ask. So I asked two questions. The first one was, metrics be danged. If you had the opportunity to do it, would there be something like that you would love to stream, that would get you out of your comfort zone a little bit, be something a little bit different than you typically do, being behind a computer like that, other than, say, the podcast? Or do you think the variety thing, like he talked about, is kind of forcing you to do that?
What do you mean, like streaming something like pinball, or streaming something like just really different?
Like really different, yeah.
I think
you had the opportunity.
If I had the opportunity to, I love doing things that are a little bit different.
Yeah. Like the podcast.
Yeah, like the podcast, and like here, like in a micro center in the middle of Ohio. Yeah, in the snowstorm. But no, like I think for me, the thing that limits me from doing the most, I guess, crazy stuff, like IRL stuff, like we've had the idea of Treasure Boys, right, where we all go out with metal detectors on the beach, and the goal is to pay for dinner. And like the reason we haven't done that is like technology hasn't really caught up all the way. Like, we were supposed to be doing this, which we're going to switch to in a second, but we have this IRL backpack that we're going to be using to go around the store, and you're going to watch me pick up my 2080 Ti, and it's going to be great. Or if they don't have that, the 2080. But I imagine they probably do. Oh boy. So I'm very excited. But like I would do more things like that if they were more consistent, right?
Right.
I think consistency is so important. So if I tweeted like, hey, Amy and I are going to the beach, and we're going to do a live sandcastle stream, and then the backpack craps out when we get out there, then I'm disappointing a lot of people.
Right.
So I think for me, a lot of it is I'd totally be willing to pony up the investment in tech, necessary by the batteries and the camera and the second internet line or second phone line or whatever. But the problem is that infrastructure for a lot of the things I want to do, stream on the beach, do more travel stuff, isn't there technologically yet for a lot of those places in the U.S.
That makes sense.
So I would love to do more things that are really experimental. Like I would love to take one day a week and be like, fuck it, we're gonna go mountain climbing. But everyone in here's like, I don't know about that. Maybe don't.
Maybe not in Ohio.
Maybe not in Ohio. You don't have any mountains here?
Very large hills.
Yeah, very large.
We have molehills.
Molehills. Yeah.
That's about
it. So we have so I would love to do more experimental stuff like that. But I think for me and for a lot of other larger broadcasters, for some people, they just love streaming video games. For me, I love the community engagement, and my primary goal is to provide a consistent entertainment experience. And if I'm hyping up going mountain climbing for a month and I show up and then I can't, that would feel awful.
That makes sense. Yeah. And so maybe the second question, also around the doing the niche game thing, would be: do you think one platform or another is doing a better job? Obviously, with any game, anything you do, the standard rules are still going to apply with social media, with growth, anything you do. But do you think one platform over another is doing a better job of catering to niche games like that?
Like pinball or
I would say retro games or maybe older computer games, things like that.
Sure. So that's a tough question. I feel like there isn't enough data from platforms that aren't Twitch to really answer that question effectively.
Yeah.
So Twitch, retro games do good on Twitch. but retro games really only do excellent on Twitch when it's speed running. Right. Whether it's the GDQ events or it's Caleb doing a 100% Final Fantasy VII run, or Caleb doing every single Mega Man game back to back, or Caleb doing anything.
Or Caleb.
Caleb is very good at this. But you know, or like TMR, like Mexican Runner. He did this whole NES playthrough, and that did really good. I think that Twitch has shown that you can do retro games really well if you have a hook. What is interesting, and more to your point, is I don't know if there's enough information out there for people who are just playing retro games because they love them.
Right.
Hey guys, like this is my favorite Atari game, and we're gonna play it on stream. Like, and I don't know if that is just that there isn't the interest there, because I don't buy that at all. I think that if someone were to start a podcast right now about like the history of retro games, in like 2 years, it would probably be on like the top 100 trending things because people would love that.
No doubt.
So yeah, because there's a huge community that love these older games, and what was it, like 2 weeks ago, someone on Twitter discovered that they had an old Apple II or whatever computer, and they found all the game discs, and when they loaded up their old saves, Twitter lost its fucking mind. He was like, oh my god, I played this! Like, everyone was so excited, right? So it's there. I wonder if it's that maybe the platforms aren't sought after yet.
That would make sense
for
too.
that. Like maybe that community's older, so it's still living on forums, and so maybe it would be an individual like yourself or someone else who's part of that to say, hey, let's go experience this together on Twitch.
And with a lot of those forums really starting to die and not have the interest that they used to have, Twitch or whatever the streaming platform could be the thing to bring it in.
Yeah, and so I like, for me, the speedrunning community that I was a part of, that puts on, you know, the GDQ events, you know, that I've been blessed enough to be a part of, you know, in my career as a broadcaster, you know, I actively pushed people from my forum group to come watch me on Twitch.
Yes.
And then I would watch them on Twitch, because being able to experience that stuff live helps with routing and all this other stuff, and it makes the community feel more alive than just like everybody posting on the forum when they get a chance.
Makes sense.
So I think, you know, for you or anyone else that's really into retro games out there, and you're on a forum that might be, you know, decelerating as people are moving on, trying to get everybody to come experience the games together live, it really gives a stronger sense of community to those things. And I would be really interested to see what happens like a year from now, if, you know, you take this advice, or if somebody who's listening to this later takes this advice.
I have friends who I know really should and could, and I think can do wonderful things.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is once people Corey always likes to say metrics get metrics. So like once you have enough people watching something, more people will start trying that thing.
Yeah.
You know, you see it happen all the time with game trends, whether it's Apex Legends or Warframe when they do a big sponsored thing. Suddenly everyone wants to stream that game because it's really high up in the directory. So there's no reason you couldn't do that with pinball or any other old retro game too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Awesome, man.
Thank you for doing everything you've done all these years. Enjoyed watching you and Kevin and Goth and everybody very, very much.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah. Wait. Let everybody know, again, I know I had you say at the beginning, tell them where they can follow you.
I am Sav2880, SAV2880, and when I do the pinball streams, it's at Level 1 Bar. Go here.
Check it out.
Place is cool.
All right, we're going to get on this backpack now. And it's going to work, and it's going to be great. And we're going to check out this awesome store, and I've been wanting to run around it all day. It's great. All right, I'm going to hit stop streaming now. Okay.